Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Actual Dracula, and I am here today with another entry for Bearded Comic Bros and Cole's Comic Claims Bearded and Cole's Comic Cover Challenge. That is quite a mouthful. The theme for the challenge this time is spooky covers. Spooky covers. Comic book covers that are spooky. Spooked ya. Now, this was October's challenge. It is already November as of this recording, so Halloween is come and gone, but that don't matter one damn bit because the spook don't stop. The spook don't stop. I'll be doing a spook at me, look at me, as I show you guys 10 of my favorite spooky covers from my collection. Let's start this off right at number 10 with a real spooky cover here. This is issue number 1 of Richard Corben's Shadows on the Grave. This was a 7-issue series from one of the masters of horror comics, Richard Corben. All issues being written and drawn by Mr. Corben, including this incredibly spooky cover right here.
It's spooky.
So let's see what kind of spooky scenario we got going on here. Looks like we got this dead leafless tree with this dead lifeless fella just kind of stuck on there, hanging out. He's got the branches coming out through his mouth hole and his eye socket, and that is sufficiently spooky. Now, you know I've got to have some Tomb of Dracula, so coming in at number 9, I've got Tomb of Dracula issue 43. You may recognize this cover from my Bearded and Cole's Comic Cover Challenge for couples covers. I do believe I included a couple of Tomb of Draculas in that video, including this one here. So, yes, it is somewhat romantic, but also spooky, as you got Drac there popping up out of the ground. And it's got a gargoyle, so that's kind of spooky. Drac dressed to the nines as usual. But I think that, you know, the spook factor here is that Drac's doing a pretty good job of spooking, popping up out of the ground like a jack-in-the-box. I think that's going to spook most people. And also just a great cover by the great Bernie Wrightson. At number 8, we've got a character with no shortage of spooky covers. I'm talking about Swamp Thing, and I have gone with the current Swamp Thing series, issue 11, with this really gorgeous and rather spooky cover by Francavilla. So this for me has some fairly spooky vibes to it. Real atmospheric cover here by Francavilla. Beautiful brushwork, but overall with that inking and the color, and you got Swamp Thing lurking in the background, kind of spooky to me. You know, I would not be one of walking through that swamp at sunset, it looks like. Yeah, there's an alligator there, but you know, Swamp Thing is the real spook factor here. Number 7, I've got one of my favorite Ice Cream Man covers. This is Ice Cream Man 26 with the 616 exclusive cover by Christopher Bust. So this cover spooks me right out. We've got this skeleton here who has seemingly come to life. He's hanging out backstage, and he's just peeking out from behind the curtains to offer you a delicious ice cream cone. And we've also got a shadow of Rick the Ice Cream Man being cast onto the curtains there. This is an homage to an issue of The Shadow, and that is a very spooky cover as well. But I don't own that one. I do, however, own this wonderful Ice Cream Man cover, and it is spooky. At number 6, I've got a cover from one of my favorite comics of all time, easily one of my favorite horror series of all time, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's Gideon Falls. And I have gone with issue number 9 here by this sufficiently spooky and creepy cover by James O'Barr. As we can see, we've got the barn in the background, and a priest. And what's that? Oh, just a spooky specter there hanging out in the tall grass. I don't know what to say about that. You probably, if you came across this scenario, I think you'd be pretty spooked by it. So I'd say that's spooky. Yeah, the whole black barn thing is already pretty spooky. But you also incorporate this red ghost dude with a skull for a face. I'd say that's even spookier, and you'd be pretty spooked by that if you came across it. All spooking aside, this is just a fantastic cover by James O'Barr, who of course is the creator of The Crow. So no stranger to creepy, spooky, paranormal stuff, and he did a fantastic job for Gideon Falls here. So when Bearded Combro and Cole first put up this challenge to do 10 spooky covers, I made a point to really look for what I consider to be spooky, not necessarily just horror or bloody or gory covers. 10 spooky covers? Okay, I could have put up 10 Vampirella covers dripping with blood, but to me, that doesn't really spook me as much as it just makes me hungry. Spooka. And, so I was looking for covers that had a real spooky vibe to them. That being said, I figured I'd throw in at least one bloody or gory cover, and if I'm gonna go with gore, what better than Gore Shriek? This is Gore Shriek issue 1. Check that out, guys. You got this dude just straight peeling his own face off. Check that out. Aside from having a phenomenal cover, Gore Shriek issue 1 is significant as this includes the first published comic work by Greg Capullo, and this copy is actually signed by Greg Capullo. However, he did not do this cover right here. This was by Bruce Spalding Fuller, who really did quite a number on this dude here. As I said, just peeling his own damn face off. Spooky, yeah. Absolutely. Gotta include it in spooky covers, but you also got that gore to go with it. And some Shriek. This one deserves a real close look, I think. That is gorgeous. And check out that warning here. Warning: contains disturbing material and is not intended for children. It'll spook them. It'll spook them right out of their heads, straight into their beds, right out of their dreams, straight into their nightmares. So don't give this to children unless you want to spook them. That was book 5. This is book 4. Nice House on the Lake, issue 1. Guys, when I'm talking about spooky, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Check that out. You've got this woman taking a late night dip there in the lake, and she's surrounded by all these human remains. It looks like some bones, but really what does it for me is just kind of the whole the lighting situation going on here. You can tell it's night, pitch black. You got the woods there, and it's almost like there's just like a spotlight shining on her, illuminating all the bones around her. Real spooky stuff here from Alvaro Martinez Bueno. Nice House on the Lake, issue 1, spooking ya. At number 3, I'm going with another cover from Alvaro Martinez Bueno. This is Sandman. Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, issue 1. And this is the 1 in 50 variant. And again, for me, spooky. We're talking spooky stuff. How about this? Check this out. Yeah, it's just a guy. Looks like he's on the bus or something. And he's got tan pants, and he's just reading a newspaper. But oh, what's that? Oh, check it out. There's some holes cut in the newspaper, and you can see where his eyes would be. There's just a couple of mouths, couple of sets of teeth, some chompers. Of course, that is the Corinthian, one of the spookiest, creepiest characters I think ever created. And check out all the headlines on the newspaper, guys. Headless body found in marina. Shooting on Greyhound bus kills 1, wounds 4. I will show you terror in a handful of dust. All of this adding to the overall spook factor. Of course, what makes this especially spooky is you got the Corinthian here, giving off some real creepy vibes, being a bit of a peeping Tom, peeking out through those holes he's cut in the newspaper. Now, I don't know if he can actually see through those teeth, but I assume he can. Otherwise, why would he have cut the holes in the newspaper? Maybe just to spook ya. Coming in at number 2, I have got the Spectre. This is issue 17 from the 3rd volume of Spectre. Again, another character with no shortage of spooky covers. He's got plenty, but I went with this one, which I find particularly spooky. So you got this poor fella here with the, these ghosts, spirits, these entities, whatever you want to call them, just spilling out of his eyes and his ear holes. Real spooky stuff, right? And then, of course, you got the Spectre looking as spooky as ever. This is a really excellent cover in general. This is by Tristan Shane, who clearly knows a thing or two about spooking people. Just real, kind of haunted house, ghosty vibes that you would expect from a character like the Spectre. It really needs no further explanation. If you don't find that spooky, then you're probably a pretty spooky person yourself. That is
y'all it's spooky.
For my final book, my number 1 pick, I have decided to go with what I consider to be one of the spookiest, creepiest, straight up spookiest, spooky covers in my collection. This is Joker 80th Anniversary 100-page super special. Not a particularly spooky sounding title, but check out that cover. This is by one of my favorite cover artists, Ryan Brown, and he has got the spook turned up to 11 on this. Check that out. Have you ever seen Joker in a creepier scenario? So there's a lot going on here. Let's break this down. Let's see what's making this so spooky. So we've got the Joker, evil, creepy grin on his face, paintbrushes in hand, some paint cans by his feet, and he's sitting on this couch here, this comfy sofa, and look who's sitting next to him. His bitter rivals, Batman and Robin and Batgirl. Though, at first glance, that's what you think, but then on closer inspection, you realize, they're not looking too well. Maybe they're sick? No, actually, I think they're beyond sick. I think they are, in fact, dead. So you got this dead Bat family, and when you take a closer look, you'll realize that these dead folks Joker's hanging out with here are not actually Batman and Robin and Batgirl, but in fact just some poor innocent family who the Joker here has painted up and dressed up to look like those characters. And not only do we have Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, but check it out, what's going on down here. We've got Harley Quinn on the floor, dead Harley Quinn. Though again, I'm sure it's not Harley Quinn, just another poor victim of the Joker. Though not necessarily, right? You think, it's safe to assume that Joker murdered these people, right? It sounds like something the Joker would do. But on even further inspection, let's take a look over here. What's this? Looks like we got a book here. How to exhume your first body. And you've got a shovel. So it's pretty clear to me that he has just dug up these corpses out of the ground. Corpses he may have been responsible for. He may very well have killed these people, But the fact is that what makes this cover exceptionally spooky and creepy and all that good stuff is that Joker has dug these people up out of their graves.
Y'all, it's spooky.
Much like the Nice House on the Lake cover, I think the lighting here does a lot to help create a real spooky vibe. You know, they're sitting in this dark room with a single light source, bright light source shining on them, casting all kinds of dark shadows, and I think that does a lot to, you know, create that creepy mood. So that's it. There it is, my top 10 spooky covers. That'll just about do it for this video. As I said, guys, it is already November, and guess what? The next challenge has already been placed. Bearded, Comic Bro, and Cole's Comic Claims have already put out November's challenge, which is fight covers. And so I am going back to back on these bad boys, which means if you're watching this video right now, it may already be up. If not, be on the lookout for November's fighting challenge video, because I will be doing that very shortly. And thank you, Beard Compro and Cole's Comic Claims for this series, which I love and I like. I've missed a few of these, I know, but I could not miss the spooky one, and I'm not going to miss the fighting one either. I've already got some cool fighting covers set aside for that, but also I'm gonna do some spooking as well. In the meantime, maybe I'll do some quick spooking before I get to that doing the fight video. But anyways, be on the lookout for that. And so thank you, and thank you for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. So make sure you do that, and then spook you later.